Oh, what is going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome. What's up? We back. It's been a while. It's been a while. Shout out to everybody. Seen a lot of Rhode Island kids and playing college football yesterday. That was exciting. But what is going on, man? Rhode Island high school football is back. Oh boy, do we have some newcomers coming around? The seniors graduated. I seen Lassiter yesterday. You know, Lassiter up there at Vanderbilt, his first carry as a college football player, man. Lassiter scored a touchdown. So we have a lot of Rhode Island kids that are going on playing at the next level, and it's because of great coaches. And we don't have a lot of great coaches, but there are some real good coaches. I ran a couple of years ago. I said that the young coaches were coming in, taking over, and you old dogs need to step back. But when I said that, yeah, Mike Washington, which hasn't won anything since. You had Stanley Dunbar, which he's MIA. He had to run away. He couldn't handle it. Blake Simpson, shout out to Blake, doing good things over in Pilgrim. But all these coaches that I mentioned that I said was the new god coming in. And then last season you have Coach Pennington, back-to-back Super Bowls. Coach Ferraro, competed in a Super Bowl with a great group of kids, on great president, great coach. And, the older coaches seem to be holding it down. So I had to eat my words. Coach Ferraro, how we doing? Put my headphones on so I could hear you. Everything's tangled. How we doing? I can't hear him yet. Oh, hang on a minute. So we'll wait for Coach Ferraro to get situated. Let me make sure it's not me. He's gonna check out and come right back. Let me try this. It's been a minute. Wins, not everybody. The older coaches. They want to cry. They want to go to these RIIL meetings, and they want to cry. We're not competitive. We can't do this. I can't be in. What are we doing here?
Oh, he wilding right now.
All right, we're back. We're back. I just had to make sure I had some sound straightened out. Bring Coach Ferraro back in.
Can you hear me?
There we go. How you doing, Coach? What's going on?
Good, Mike. How are you?
All right, welcome, man. Welcome back. I was saying earlier that I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago. I said that some of the older coaches, the younger coaches were coming in and they were gonna take over. But I think I had to eat my words because you're in the Super Bowl last season, Coach Pennington, back-to-back Super Bowls with West Warwick Steelers. Sandy Gorham holding it down over there in Barrington. So I got to say, I had to eat my words because, I thought the younger guys were going to step up, but they'll have their time for sure.
Oh, for sure.
How we doing up there in Burrillville?
Good. Working hard. Trying to get our way into the season.
I got to say, two great players you had, the 19 class, and you just graduated his older brother, Jake and Logan. Two great quarterbacks, that share a Broncos school record for, I think, most touchdowns at 72. What are you going to say about them two guys and their father?
Well, the it does start, credit to Bobby in the way that he was able to, raise his boys and hold them to certain expectations. And it takes a certain, type of approach when you're the father of a son and you want them to play a sport that you love and be good at it. There could be dips and turns that could, not be favorable in anybody's direction. But he was able to coach his kids and come with us and coach every kid. He wasn't just a personal trainer to his own sons. Bobby's a great coach and a great father, and we were lucky to have him on staff. And we'll certainly miss him. But the development of Jake and Logan started when they were young, and then when they were given the opportunity to make their own way, you know, after his after the guidance of his father, and they were able to come into our staff, they really blossomed because they had a great foundation. And those two boys are ultimate competitors. They're great people. They work so hard in everything they do. It just goes to show how Jake now is a state trooper. He became a state trooper at 20 years old, which is unheard of. And you know, he was in the military, and Logan now is on his way, you know, after an amazing high school career. Now he's going to go play football at UMass Dartmouth. Had a great scrimmage the other night, and the future is limitless for him because he will never shy away from a challenge and will continue to challenge himself. So with those type of boys, you can build not just a season but a program, so their legacy stands. And you know, people filling in their shoes will have expectations to follow that they set. And I mean, they were amazing teammates and leaders at the same time. And there were certain things that as a coach you didn't have to worry about because they could handle it, not only for themselves, but they could influence their peers to do the right things and to work hard. And when you're the most talented player and you're the hardest worker, now we have something that it can influence 100 people. And that's what those two boys have. And I love them like sons. I love Bobby like a brother, and they'll be Broncos for life.
I think Bobby feels the same way about you. Now going back to Jake, I remember when I was, Wesley Bulldog, following them and stuff, and people say I'm an undercover Broncos fan. So you kind of have two great programs, and you being a Wesley alumni yourself. Jake, when he graduated, I was like, thank God. I was like, now Burrville don't have a quarterback, and then here you go with another quarterback that stepped up. He had his 4 years, and then here comes the little brother, Logan, and he had a phenomenal year as well, and going on to UMass Dartmouth. And Logan just seems like a different type of player than we're used to seeing, and I think that comes from his father. And Bobby don't look like a daddy coach. He just don't seem like a daddy coach to me. And now Bobby is down in a youth program trying to get more kids developed to bring up to the high school.
Which is, if he couldn't contribute with us, which of course he shouldn't, he needs to go and see Logan play and be available to see his son develop in that realm, and which he did with his, with his other boys in playing their sports, and his stepsons and Brandon, and he should be doing that. And the greatest contribution anybody could give to a high school program is to develop the young guys. So he was very good at that. He's a Hall of Fame coach at the youth level. And so for him to be able to go back and see the priority that our youth program needs a little boost, and for him to do that is the ultimate contribution, because then, we'll reap those benefits. That investment will come through, and it'll be, multiplied many, many times. So I'm very grateful for him to not completely hang up his clipboard, but he's a junkie, and it's tough to keep him away. And again, he's like a brother to me, and the rest of my coaches. So
he loves you. Like, I talked to him a few times, and when he gets talking about you, it's very respectable. And I bet he feels the same way. He called me a little while ago from the sideline. He said, "Is Coach still coming on?" He said, "I'm on the side, but I'm gonna be paying attention after the game." So shout out to him, and shout out to all the kids out there in Burrville trying to all the coaches out there at the youth program, leading all the way up to the high school, because it's not easy.
No, those guys have their first game today. So hopefully they come back with a W, and it's definitely not easy times, especially when you've been at it a long time, because you see transitions and changes, and you need to be able to adapt. In order to continue to have success, you have to be able to adapt to many things, cultures, changes, parents, players, um, but there's certain principles that remain and should remain consistent. And Bobby definitely has those, and he'll be able to with all those other good coaches down at the youth level, be able to influence future Broncos to come up and because now they know, Bobby coached with us for 5 years, so he's I know what he's telling them. If you're gonna play for the Broncos, if you're gonna play for the high school, you better understand X, Y, Z, or behave like this, or so it's good. It is the ultimate gift for a high school program is to have great influencers down there with the young guys.
Absolutely. And one thing I notice about your program is your kids, act like they've been there before. They're very respectable. There was a small situation last year. I called Bobby and he called you when right before the Central game, and you guys were able to take care of it and had a great game against Coach Washington, who has a tremendous respect for you, Coach. Um, a lot of great coaches throughout Rhode Island. So I think your program, speaks volumes and should lead by example.
I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely. One change that we've seen this year. Now we'll put your president hat on. Change to the playoff format in Division One. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Whoa.
I
Excuse me,
I
Mike.
think I got him right there.
You got me. Yeah. So that was in summary, that was compensation for the adjustment to the RPI. So when the RPI was instituted, there were bugs and certain glitches that were being found as the plane was being built in the air, so to speak. So, in being in those meetings and speaking with other great minds and great coaches, to compensate for the slightest variation in the RPI, um, it was decided to allow the top 6 teams to compete at the state championship, and then allow the other 4 as as a reward of being up in Division One. So if we need to follow this formula, which I have my druthers against, then at least the teams that are up competing with the big dogs have an opportunity to stay in the game, keep their kids engaged and involved through the year. And now hey man, you got the top 6 teams can vie for a state championship, and then the other 4 teams are still going to play for a bowl championship, and that keeps things exciting through the year. You know, and it's great for kids. That's what's great for kids, keeping them engaged and keep having the motivation to continue. And because as we understand, kids are kids. When it gets to close to Thanksgiving, kids are going to be sharpening their skates or shooting free throws, or trying to maybe dip out into the winter sport. But if you have something to play for, including Thanksgiving, it keeps everybody engaged. And I think that's a good way to handle the situation in Division One based on the format that has been laid out for that.
And with Division One, are all teams going to continue to make the playoffs going forward, or is this going to change after the realignment?
Well,
Because
I
this
don't
is the
know.
last season, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, then we're up for realignment. I really don't see from the talks of being in those meetings that the format is going to change. I really don't. I think maybe the formula might change a little bit, but I think the structure of the leagues where it's 10, 12, 11, 10, however it's spread out like that, I don't think that's going to change much or at all. So, although if you were to survey the coaches association, I think a lot of people would agree that a smaller Division One is probably better for our situation at this time. And a lot of teams fall into the category of that a bigger Division Two, and like most of the teams in the state will fall between a level of competition, no matter what size school it is, between a Division Two and a three, and then again, kind of like the bell curve. You know what I mean? So like,
Hmm.
not a lot at the top, not a lot at the bottom, but those guys in the middle can bang it out and have great games and seasons. But I don't know. Then there's
Oh,
other committees and voices involved with that. You got the athletic directors, you got the principal committee of athletics, and sometimes, and I would say a lot of times, the coach's voice is the lowest on that list.
oh yes, no, it exactly is the one that's there every day, year round. Oh, now with the RPI, I noticed a lot of states that do the RPI, they go by school enrollment. Do you think in the future Rhode Island will eventually get to that point where school enrollment would dictate the division?
I really don't. I don't. Although I think it should. I really don't. I just believe that the people in charge, and the people that make these decisions don't believe that in this state enrollment should bear more of a factor. Where
Does the
everywhere else,
coaches association, do you think they believe that enrollment should be a factor?
one hundred
Because you're a
percent.
small school and you're always being thrown in Division One. No
Yeah,
other
yeah.
school in your area has made Division One level.
No, no. I think if you were to poll coaches, and I'm saying, coaches need to, and the coaches can't and shouldn't make decisions based off of their own situation. You need to look at 43 situations
Hmm.
altogether. So I do understand why some coaches don't believe that enrollment should take a higher factor, because they bring up the point of roster representation. So they might have 1,000 boys in the school, but they only have a 50-man roster or a 60-man roster. Okay, so I do understand that to a point, though, because if you have higher enrollment versus a school that has lower enrollment, your 50 kids you're fishing in a deeper pond. So you're gonna be, the chances of you getting talent that is different than the smaller population increase with the deeper pool. Now, look, I understand. You look at the situation with Pawtucket, and they had the co-op. My heart bleeds for that. I'm very good friends with Dino, who became the AD, and I understand those. I can say that I understand why, and those struggles are real, and I don't discredit that. So, what's the balance? I don't think it should be 100% enrollment, but I think it should be more than 20% enrollment. So back in the day when I started, it was 50-50, 50% enrollment, 50% win percentage based on our state and our situation. I think that's a that represents a bigger piece of, or profile of our situation. We have 43 schools in a small area, so that's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot of schools, and in other places in the country, you might only have 10 high schools in an area like Rhode Island. So, based on our situation, I just don't believe that, and it could, and it should, and it should be different for, you know sports. Different sports can survive with this formula, but I don't think football can, and like the hockey, the sports that need, like, we football serves all type of athletic ability. That's why it's the best game ever. Football serves every type of athletic profile. You don't just have to be fast, strong, quick, smart, right? You can be big. You can be not fast and big and be an unbelievable all-state lineman. You can be smaller, quick, fast, and be an all-state wide receiver. So because of the fact that football can serve the different athletic profiles, it should it, the winning percent in the formula should be adjusted to represent um, the the population. So my personal opinion doesn't really matter. I think that, back to your question, do I think enrollment should take a bigger piece? I do. Do I think it should be 100%? Maybe not, but definitely more than 20%.
Well, we see teams like Mount Pleasant right now, a very big school, has a co-op. Coventry, big school, struggling with numbers. What do we? Westerly, I think they're down 400 or 500 kids.
I
You
know.
know, like the numbers are dwindling, and can teams
Mm.
like Warwick have multiple schools? Like, what do they do? What do we do to get more kids in the pads, get more kids back on the field, get more kids in the schools?
Um, that's a big problem. This is my 29th year in the classroom and 28th on the field, and um, you know, you sit and watch kids walk by your door in the hallway, and you just can tell. Like, I think that it's a societal issue. I think it's a situation where parental involvement influences that as well, and so it's all about what you place as being important. A lot of kids, when I first started, the struggle of keeping kids on a roster, or at least in Burrville, was the car and the girlfriend. They needed to go to work to because they needed a car, right? You need the car. You gotta have the car. You need the car. You need insurance. You need gas, right? And then you have a girlfriend that goes in the car. So like kids were, hey, I gotta work, right? Well, you can work and you can play football, and here's how we can do it. So I can't tell you how many times I've helped kids get part-time jobs around sport, and then they learn they can play other sports as well, or they'll play the one sport and then work the rest of the year. Now it's not even that kids want to go and get a part-time job and make money; they just don't want to do it. The ability to be reclusive and be involved with electronics takes over their social world. You can have a friend in Japan. You can have friends, anywhere in the world. You don't have to engage now in the locker room or in the hallway or at the lunchroom. You can engage in multiple different ways that you feel fulfilled in that regard. Why do you need to go play football when you have, friends online? You can play games with people around the world. So it's a societal issue. It's a social, which becomes a social impact, and a parental involvement is in there. So like I can't speak for other parents, but
Right.
my daughters were forced to go to practice and be engaged and do things, and um, but everybody has a different way and different priorities. So but what we are left with as coaches is who comes out, who can come out, and when you try to influence kids to come out, and you try to get kids in the building to come out and talk to them and show them. But if a kid's heart's not in it, you can't force a kid to play or do anything. So especially football, because in my belief, you're either in or you're out. You got to be all in,
No
or
halfway, right? No half step in it.
you can't do it.
No, absolutely. Now you have Brandon DeCharo, who came back after graduating college, is coaching now. You know, um, Shout out to Brandon. Very good high school career, very good college career. What does that mean for the kids to see somebody from the community go to college, come back, and coach?
Yeah, and credit to Brandon who attempted to come back and coach, but he in realizing his situation now, he had to step back because he's trying
Oh,
to
okay.
get a certification and get promotions at work. So he's stepped back, but he attempted to do it. But most of my staff are former players, who come back and contribute and want to be a part of, and influence the next line of Broncos to come through and share their amazing stories and their experiences that have shaped them to be the men they are today. So as I think about it, most of my coaches, only a couple, well, me and Chris Belusi, the defensive coordinator, didn't play for Barville, but most of the other coaches did, or had a son that did. Which again, I got guys that have stayed on staff after their kid has graduated. Now their sons come back and coach. So fathers and sons coach together. It's a special place, and I value that my life is so enriched by being involved in in the community of Barville and in this program, and the relationships that have been forged through the years are lifetime. Um, Somebody said, one of my coaches the other day was like, I was searching for a contact or something on my phone. He's like, wait a minute, well, how many contacts do you have? And I have like 2,000 contacts in my phone, and it's not. It's just because the relate. My biggest thing that, and the coaches know this, and our line is in the coaches' office is we're in the kid business. We're not in the football business, but through the vehicle of football, we're able to influence kids to grow and develop great habits to be good men, fathers, husbands, co-workers, anything that they want to do, they can apply the teachings of football. So we're lucky here, very lucky.
Absolutely. A couple other questions. One thing, where are we at with the football field?
Honest to God, I don't know.
All right.
Honest to God, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I know it's been a troubling, but all right. What I wanted to say last is you've come from Westerly Bulldogs, so you had two great programs. Was there ever a chance that you would have coached at Westerly throughout your career?
So I mean, here's the story, Mikey. So when I first was hired at Barville, I taught for the first year, and then um, I got a phone call from Mr. Jack Carson, who was my gym teacher for 4 years, or 3 of the 4 years at Westerly. Absolutely love the man, mentor of mine. He called me, and he was a vice principal at the middle school where Mrs. Sacco, was my former history teacher, was the principal. And so he's like, "Why don't you come down for an interview? You know, this is where you belong. Come back home. Let's just go through the interview and see what happens." And at the time, I had set up. By the time my first year teaching was done, I had set up kind of like an internship with Ocean State Power, which is a power plant in Barville, to implement a kind of like a work-based learning situation with my students in this particular program. And the 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 goal was for me to work there in the summer, develop this school intern partnership between the power plant and the school, get kids up there to shadow and do things with the power plant. And so I'd already committed to that. And so so out of respect to Mr. Carson and Mrs. Sacco, I went down and did the interview. And then, they offered me the job. And I respectfully declined because I had already committed to doing this program. Now, looking back, after 28 years, 29 years, the happenings and the developments that happened, I mean, I would have never thought. I mean, I dreamed that this could be what it is, but I never thought it would develop. I ended up now getting involved coaching, and I became Mike Hauser's assistant coach with Steve Pesci, and us three and a bunch of other knuckleheads that started coaching together in 1998. We ended up building this program through the Hauser way and the influences that Mike Hauser had in his life, and I was able to learn football through him and the influences of his brothers who were college coaches, and I got to meet all the blue bloods of the town. I've met everybody except Mr. Eccleston. I've met, Mr. Ducharme, Mr. Musso. I mean, all of the blue bloods that were there, legends that came through, Mr. Murphy, all those guys I was able to meet and spend time with, not just shake hands. And I was able to drink the culture and internalize it and understand the history and how special of a place this is. And it mirrored Westerly. And Mike and I always talked about it, how the two towns were mirrors of each other. Hardworking, mill, first, in Barville, it was first generation Italians, which I'm a product of. And in Barville, it was the French Canadians, and the town had 7 mills at one time. And people who would lie to get into the service, and just stories upon stories upon stories of the legend of the town. And I couldn't leave. I just couldn't leave. And so, was there ever an opportunity for me to coach down in Westerly? Yeah, if I would have taken that job, I know Coach Reed at the time, who was the head coach. Um, I mean, who again is one of my favorite men on the earth, and the influences that I had playing football. I was coached by Hall of Fame coaches, and then I came up to Barville, and I was influenced by more Hall of Fame coaches. So my path, my journey, um, I don't regret. I mean, again, like, I don't regret that decision at all. I think it turned out pretty good for me.
And as you know, that was a personal request from someone that, they said, ask him about the Wesley story. So, guys in Wesley love you, Coach Vaca, like we talked about before, his brother, the Pee Wee program. It's just the way that that program came together. Like, that's a story that needs to be told,
I
back
get
in.
goosebumps when you say the word vodka. I get.
No,
Uh,
Vaca's legendary. Like, I don't know another man that been in a youth program as long as Coach
you know,
Vaca
you
has.
really realize that the game, the amazing game that we played down there in 2018, when they were undefeated. Coach Miranda was the head coach, and Toronto was the running back, and they were rolling teams 55-5, and we were, new up in Division 2. And I remember one of my, great friends from town, Mike Murdoch, was inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame. So I go down, and we're partying down there and hanging out. And Mr. Carson comes up to me at the Havisham, and he, you know, does this as he would all the time. He's, hey, Gennaro, welcome to Division 2. Now we're going to see if you can coach, right? So he's just busting my chops, having fun. Well, I wrote that on a post-it note, and I stuck it to my computer. Now we'll see if you can coach. So that motivated me in a great way, because I know Mr. Carson loves me and wants the best for me. And we go down there, and we pull off the upset, and it's, one of the historical wins in our program for sure. So much so that the next week we both lost in the semis. Right, we kicked the crap out of it. It was one of the greatest high school football games that I've ever coached, in top five, no doubt. And we've won 6 Super Bowls up here.
And when
So
soccer follows your game plan the following week.
that's right, Charlie, man, Charlie's my boy too. So after that, like immediately after the game, the first person, the first person on the field to congratulate me was Mr. Carson. And he was the first one, came up, gave me a hug, and kissed my cheek, and told me he was proud of me. And Charlie Vaca was there, and all my youth coaches. I know Coach Moreno was up there in the stands, and he called me the next day. So like the influences, those those relationships never go away. They never die. If anything, they strengthen as you become a man. Those gentlemen influenced me. I was 14, 15. The only thing I knew is I had to listen to them. Right, that I knew that. Right, I'm like, hey, this is what they said. You got to do that, right? So at least because of the way I was raised, right? If my father told me, if my parents told me something, I did it. You had to do it. That was it. You had to do it. So when an adult spoke to me, and most of my generation and the friends that I grew up with, all those men influenced all of my friends and me. And if you look at the profile of my buddies, we're pretty good. We're doing pretty good. So thank you to all those guys. And I call them, and I joke with our boys. I say the ghosts of Eccleston Field are the back end zone, and those guys watch, and they watch over us, and they watch over you. And I know, the ghosts of Westerly are with me as well, and it's pretty cool, Mike. It really is pretty cool, dude.
Coach Ferraro, man, that's an awesome, awesome story. And I want to save that to the end because I know how dear this town is
I
to your
love
heart.
Westerly. Westerly will always be in my heart. I'll always be. I'm in Westerly all the time.
Got some soupy. You probably one outsider that knows what soupy is.
Oh, we make it every year, brother.
Yeah, see,
I'll give you
I
a
ask
tip.
people outside Wesley, especially
Yeah.
Italians, hardcore Italians, what's soupy? I don't know.
We make it every year. And wine and the canning and the way we were raised. I mean, my parents, they were crop sharers, man. They were peasants in Italy. They
Were
lived
your
off the
parents
land.
from like Pear Street area? Because a lot of Italians came from the North End, right?
I grew up on Pear Street,
Okay.
64 Pear Street. The phone number is still the same. My mother still has the same phone number.
All right, let's not give out the mom's phone number.
No,
You
no,
know?
hell no.
All right, Coach Frau, man. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, man. Like, good luck this season. I know it's gonna be a battle. You know, like every year it is, but you're definitely gonna give it your all.
No doubt. And I appreciate you allowing me to reconnect those wires in my head and those memories. It's
Anytime,
powerful stuff.
Coach, man. I love when you come on, and I love getting the history because soon a lot of history is being forgotten about because we don't, nobody's here to tell them stories anymore, and this will be there forever.
And that's why we honor our program with the 1934 on our helmets to honor all of the other Broncos, the 90 other teams that have played for the Legends, and we're playing for them as well.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Good luck, and good luck to all the Broncos out there. Good luck this season. Stay safe. Go Broncos. Talk to you soon, Coach.
Thanks, Mike. I'll see you.
All right. There we have it. The legendary Coach Ferraro up there in Burrville. We got someone else in the green room already. He's been very, very patient, and Italians are not that patient. Let me tell you. Fulton, what's up, man?
What's going on, Mikey? How are you?
Oh, I like the new microphone, the new studio, the Raiders fan podcast. What's going on?
Not much. I started the podcast last year. It's growing. It's on TikTok now. The podcast is doing good. We started a new program where people would just take pictures of Raider gear, send it to me. I'll put it up. Now that was last year's segment. This year's segment is going to be they do a little video clip, their name, where they're representing with Raider gear on, and they send it to me. The problem with that is I have thousands of emails, and a whole bunch of text messages. But it's good. I'm having a lot of fun. Raider fan on the East Coast. It's a little different, but I'm having a blast.
Yeah, before we get going, I just want to thank the people that help us support the program. Give me 1 second. Oh, you know what? They got all kinds of stuff on here. Since I last been on, it's been a while since I did a podcast, and so the whole system has changed. All the new everything that they have going on. But big shout out to Emerson Kilgo over there at 401 Strength and Fitness. If you're looking for someone that did it on the D1 level, you definitely got to go over there and check out what Emerson has going on. Emerson's actually taking the year off from officiating. That's supposed to be, we're not supposed to tell anybody, so keep it quiet. It's a secret. Shout out to Emerson.
Talking about the podcast.
Yeah, nobody watches. You know what I mean? But big shout out to Emerson, and big shout out to Home Smart Professionals.
Are you dreaming of the perfect home? Your dream home doesn't have to be just a dream. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kathy Foisey from HomeSmart Professionals Real Estate is here to make it a reality. Expertise in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, Kathy is ready to guide you every step of the way. Reach out today at 401-486-6587 or email kfoisey1@gmail.com.
And another plug I wanted to give, a lot of people know my father passed away the last week. And I got to say, man, Baraducci's funeral home, Annette and Michael. Michael runs the Woonsocket Funeral Home. Annette runs the Providence Funeral Home. What a great, they did great at everything. I got to say, so if you're looking for a funeral home, it's kind of weird and morbid, but if you're looking for a funeral home, that's going to service your family, that's going to be small, personal, one-on-one. You're not going to have multiple funerals going around like at all the big places. Annette and Michael up there in Woonsocket, they did a great job. So I would definitely recommend calling them. They have a place on Grove Street.
Sorry to hear about your dad, dude.
Yeah, thank you. And Cliff Fulton, was one of the few people to show up. So Not that there was a lot of people there, but close friends of mine anyway. But
Of course,
my friends don't like to go to funerals. I don't know.
funerals are
You
scary,
know,
man, but you still got to represent. You know what I mean?
they say they are. Yeah, no, definitely. And it started off years ago where funerals was done in your home. And the funeral director would come to your home. They would take the body, they would embalm it, they would bring it back, set it up. But then more families over the years said, "Well, we want you to do it. We want you to host the body." And I gotta say, like, was it expensive? I mean, I guess, but compared to what big places like Nondalillo, Rebello's, like that family can't get nothing under 13, 14,000.
It's
You know what I
some.
mean? So it's
Oh,
expensive. So I gotta say, give Baraducci and Son, and they do cremation. They do the whole 9 yards. They took care of everything with the cemetery, with the grave. The whole 9 yards. So I don't think me and my family could be any happier. My father lived a long 81 years, and
mm.
someone from the streets like my father who lived their life on Apples Ave, Federal Hill, to make
That hill.
81 years. Exactly. And that's why I thought it was very important to lay him to rest in the streets that he terrorized. Yeah, I mean Grove Street, so and that's why I thought Holy Ghost Church was the perfect, outlet because hey, all the best ones are laid out at Holy Ghost. But nah, Holy Ghost did a great job as well. I can make a little joke. My father lived a long life, so I can't
Absolutely.
ask anything more. But anyway, let's not get all depressed, man.
Yeah.
Raiders fan podcast.
Yes.
You're doing great, Cliff. Good for
Well,
you. You had
and
a
be
rough.
honest, it started with you always coming on your podcast, and I did Mind of a Coach, and I did Coach's Corner. I did a lot of different podcasts, and I guess I get a gift to gab, so I'm like, why not start my own? And some people, were for it. Hey, you should do it, go for it. And I had some other people were like, the Raider fan podcast. You're on the East Coast. How good is it gonna be? And within 1 year, I got sponsorships, which I'm always looking for more, but it grows. So my TikTok is over 3,000 people. I'm on Instagram, I was on Facebook. So it really took off this past year. I'm going to the New England Patriot Raider game. So, I'll be doing a live thing for the podcast from there. So,
Oh,
looking
nice.
forward to that. Raider, going there with my Raider hat, but I got to go easy with them Patriot fans. I got
Yeah,
the
you gotta be careful over there. I gotta say, this is New England. I don't care what you say. New England, I
right.
think it's the most disrespectful corner of the map.
They could be rowdy. So I haven't been there in a long time. Well, I go every year, but haven't seen the Raiders there since the snow game, which I don't want to talk about. So it was
That was a legendary game. Like that game, like the snow angel, they call it the snow angel game from what Brewski
snow
doing his
game.
thing, the snow game. I mean, that was a game where we learned of the tuck rule. Nah, let's go. Ha! That was a game. A couple of years
Yeah.
later, Brady's about to retire. The tuck rule goes away.
Yeah, imagine that how wonderful that is. But I went to that game in the snow. I had a wonderful time. I go to a couple of Patriot games, but I'm looking very forward to the Raiders going there. I'll wear my hat, but I'm not going to go too crazy. I got really good seats, so I'm sure I'll have a great time.
Yeah, but I think LaSalle had just went there. LaSalle has a former Patriot coach,
Yeah,
and I think that's going to make LaSalle's season even more exciting, as we get into
can they
talking
beat
about Rhode
Hendricken?
Island.
It's always
That's
a
the
can they beat
question.
Hendricken? That's it. We had some public. I think last year a public school beat Hendricken. I think it was Portsmouth, but it's always going to be LaSalle. How good are you? Can you beat Hendricken? Yes or no? That's going to
Them
determine how good
Hendricken
you are.
games get funny. Go back to Cumberland last season against Hendricken. There was some shady shit going on. The refs, the calls, like some of them things are like, bro. And it's like
Oh,
right when a team has Hendricken against the ropes, it's like some
something
things
comes
happen.
up. Look at the Mike Washington game, Central. That was very bizarre of that call that was a phantom call, not a phantom call, whatever it is that you want to look at. But Central had Hendricken on the ropes, and that's when North Kingston beat LaSalle. How great would that have been, North Kingston versus Central? That's what I was rooting for anyway. So,
And you could go back and watch the Central season. They have a YouTube page, and it's the entire season. I played it on here a few times, but Facebook's very sensitive about Coach Mike Washington's language.
I call him
I mean?
Magic Mike. I call him Magic Mike, Coach Washington. He's
Well, what people don't realize, Charleston White says it best. He said, Charleston White, a big YouTuber, he said, when I was talking politely to people, he said, nobody would listen. He said, some areas you got to talk with disrespect.
well, you got to know your players. Coach Washington knows his players inside and out. So, I've talked to Coach many times, and that's the discussion we have is you can't talk to every player the same way. Some needs that low tone. It's going to be okay. And, some other players are like, you got to get in his grill, and they love it. They feed off that action. So that gets them motivated. And all of a sudden their teammates are getting motivated, and you're getting the best out of all the players. So you just have to know who your players are.
And not saying it's right, but some kids, that's all they hear, and that's all they respect.
Yeah, that's true too. So
some places you come from, you can't say, Melvin, please sit down, get off the chair. They're going to look at you like, yeah, right.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You got to go in there and be like, yo, you got to talk to him, like, put him, let him know about himself.
Stern. But,
you got to be stern. I mean, with some of these kids, because they come from a tough environment. Let me tell you, I grew up on Manton Avenue. I know you grew up on Apples Ave, another tough environment, but Manton Ave, South Side, like these are some tough places to grow up with. You go in the house and their kitchen table is milk crates. Like these kids have it really tough, and there's no fault of their own. So
yeah.
And I told Wes Pennington, I said the sad reality is some of these kids eventually are going to end up incarcerated.
Unfortunately,
and we hope not, but it's the way of life, and they get on these streets and they feel like they somebody. So we got to try to, as football coaches, as inspiring the game, we got to try to reach these kids however we can, through whatever language barrier there is.
I agree.
So not everyone agrees with it, but not everyone agrees with shit I do, and I still do it. But Rhode Island High School football coach, man, what do you think of it as you look from the outside?
It's football's different in Rhode Island. When I was coaching, it was very exciting. We had a lot of games that were just off the charts. A lot of promos, a lot of a lot of social media stuff with football, a lot of media coverage. So it seemed a lot more exciting a few years back. I stepped away for a couple of years, personal reasons, and now I'm looking at it, and it's just like, you're trying to be exciting for it, but it's missing that it factor. I don't know what the it factor could be, but in some places it's really good, but I'm really shocked about how the numbers are low. I didn't expect to see that. I didn't expect certain teams to have to co-op, Mount Hope, Central. I would never have seen any of that having to co-op. That's crazy.
I think it's Mount Pleasant and Times 2 Academy. Central might have a charter school, but yeah, it's Mount Pleasant Times. Yeah, and Mount Pleasant, I said earlier, one of the biggest schools in the state.
That's huge. It is. It's like one of the biggest, the largest public schools in Rhode Island, and you have to co-op. So what's missing within 5 years? Why other kids are not coming out? And I heard Coach Ferrara say it. It's the technology, it's social media, it's on my iPhone. I can talk to this guy, talk to that guy. But we need to get back to where football is exciting. when I was in the game, it was good. We had interviews. These kids, I think, want more out of football than just showing up, practice, and have some type of structure, and then go play the game. It's missing that one element. So
That was an
don't know
exciting season, I gotta say, man. Like, and that was Division 4, and we had that shit lit.
we made it exciting because I brought in, we had our local news carrier. We had you covering it. I had SBI Sports covering it. We had the AOL Sports covering it. We had Patch covering it. Patch, yup. And I was crazy. I was making all these videos for the kids, and that's what they like. That's what they enjoyed having. So maybe that's what's missing. Going out there and getting the kids a little extra something. I was bringing in coach after coach for college. Coach Ryan McCormick was always at the school, just talking about not just football, but after football. How do we get you into college with more than just football? So,
and I got to say, the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker. These are the Dave Cato rules that we had to implement, the dumpster fire. I mean, I'll tell you what, I like to see what he does in Pontiac now. Now that the Cook era is done, the last class just graduated. Now you got to go build your program.
I'm looking forward to some quite a few teams. Of course, I got a lot of friends still coaching. I'm interested in seeing how Coach Cook does with East, how Coach Pennington does with West Warwick, Coach Piven, North Smithfield.
Oh, I got to interrupt you. Someone was you at Cranston East scrimmage the other day coaching?
No.
Because somebody said, "Yo, I seen your boy over there." I was like, "Who?" There was like your boy Fortin over there up at East. I was like, "Nah."
Put me on the spot. I went to this last week's scrimmage. I've been to a practice. I've been talking to Coach Cook about possibly coming back. I talked to you about it, getting back into football. I kind of lost the love for it a little bit, kind of like pulled away, and I wanted to see if I can get that love back. And you and I spoke plenty of times about it. Coach, me and Coach Ryan McCormick spoke about it, but Coach Cook's like, come down. That's the only way you're going to get the bug back. So I checked out his program, just looking at practice, just seeing football for what it is. And then I went to Cranston East. I went to the scrimmage, and that really brought a lot of football back for me. So
I got something good for you. Why don't you do a show, right? For this season, you go to all the games and you check out the concession stands, right? And you eat something and you do a live thing. That way you get football. You get the two things you love to do most: eat and football.
Well, they have to have
that would be awesome, though. So I just gave somebody an idea.
I lost a lot of weight. I don't want to gain any of that back. So as long as they got salads and something small,
I don't know if any concession stand's going to have salad now. You know what? He's fronting right now. Somebody's going to be watching. And they're going to be like, oh, good. You're going to eat salad. A lot of salad. No, don't bring me no damn salad. I give to my lizards.
Give me the sausage and peppers. Let's go.
I give to my bearded lizards over there. They eat all the lettuce and crickets. So, but no, but you know what? I gotta say, shout out to Coach Cook. Called me the other night, and I was like, he messaged me and everything. But thank you, I appreciate that. I bust his balls. I don't, he's all right. Sometimes it's fun when you can bust someone's balls, and it's like, it really gets to them. But I love Coach Cook. I think it's great what he does. I'm actually a big fan. I think what he did in Pontiac, winning 80% of his games was unheard of. Go look at his win-loss record up there at Pontiac, and he went into Pontiac when Pontiac sucked.
He took over a bad program and he made it better. And then now he has the same opportunity at Cranston East. And within 2 years, you can already see that program.
He's got a tougher road, though. He's got a tougher road at Cranston East because of the demographics. This ain't football of yesterday. The kid, we talked about it all day today. It's tough to get the kids in the pads. They can't get it done in a classroom. And I understand. Someone tried to explain common math to me, and I said, math is math. No, they changed it. How do you change math?
To me, 1 + 1 is 2. Now,
yeah, well, not according to the school department. So, Don't have that conversation with him. But this is the problem because it's like, how do you fuck up Matt? I mean, how do you mess up Matt?
There you go. There's the loose lips.
So
Well, he's doing good. I've seen firsthand that program within 2 years. You know, the kids are having fun. There's structure. So he does. The challenge he has is like unlike any other school. After practice, they have to jump on a bus and go somewhere else to practice. So that's one of the bigger challenges. But like anything else, if you build it and you do a good job and you do it the right way, they're going to come out and play. And that's what he's noticing this year. So he's, I can't speak, entirely because I'm not there all the time, but I've seen a major difference in Cranston East. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're doing. I went to the scrimmage and the kids are absolutely having fun. They're learning stuff, but they're having fun and wanting to learn it. So they're coachable. The staff is great. So the fan base is coming back. So Cranston East is going to be, they're going to be good. They're still young. They're still working. They're still putting in the work. But I like what I saw so far.
I mean, no, absolutely. He made the playoffs last season. His team made the playoffs. I don't know where he was.
I think he was sick. I think
Nah. He was sick. He told me he was sick.
Yeah, he was under the weather. But I'm also looking to see, how Coach Pennington does with West Warwick again this year. He's always in the Super Bowl. So
let's stop talking about Cook.
No, it's good.
Shout out to Cook. I think he's doing a great freaking job over there. Made the playoffs, but yeah, Coach Pennington, like you said, back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yeah,
getting it done. The kid Corona on the quarterback is phenomenal.
I want to see Mike, Mike Washington. I want to see how he does with Central. I'm seeing him starting to really promote once again. So I get excited to see some of my friends really getting on the field. Coach Pava, I want to see how he does with North Smithfield. And my man Charlie down in Rogers, I want to see how he builds that program. And I want to see how, oh my God, there's a couple of coaches I'm going to forget. Shane Parker, Matt down in Middletown, a lot of coaches. I know I'm forgetting a few, but just to see how they do. I'm interested in seeing that, especially
really, if you look at the quality of coaches, it's way different all over the board, right? But if we slow down a minute and we look at Division One, you got Bishop Hendricken, LaSalle, you got your regular top dogs. North Kingstown, I think is going to be a problem, probably for both them programs. I mean, but is LaSalle and Hendricken going to end up in the 1 and 2 spot? Absolutely. Without a doubt they are, because they have an advantage that other programs don't have. And how can they not end up in that number 1 spot?
Yeah, that's true. Their pool is a lot bigger than just their district, and you can only do so much with pathways and stuff like that. So they do have a bigger advantage. It's interesting to see when they play schools that are equal to them. When other schools can do the same thing out in Massachusetts or Connecticut or New York, it's not as simple. They actually sometimes, for the most part, they come back with losses. So that's interesting to see. On a higher level, but I'm excited to see. I'm always going to root for the public school over a private school every day of the week. So,
speaking of LaSalle, how about Jasmine Lassiter yesterday for Vanderbilt, man? First time touching the ball to the house for a touchdown, man. Like, this film, you can actually go to my page and see the video. I don't have it hooked up to this, but shout out to him, man, playing at that high level yesterday. Saturday football, no matter what time you put a game on, you seen 401 on the field.
And they should promote that more to get these kids excited to come play football.
Dean Robinson he's doing a hell of a job. Like he is, because he coached a lot of them kids, and he's like, yeah, he's seeing kids from our backyard. Lassiter, man, I know to see a Lassiter in college football, it's great to see, because I know the Lassiters from the south side of the 90s.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And they had it rough. So to see a Lassiter now playing on Saturday, college football at a high level, shout out to the Lassiters, man. Shout out to all them guys up there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Come out and play. The kids should come out and play. And there's an avenue of a future, whether you get into football in college for education and sports. It's a way to opening the door and to help with that high tuition too. A lot of people don't recognize that, but um, football in Rhode Island could be much bigger. It was almost there when we had some of the other coaches involved because they were doing a lot of promoting, and hopefully one day we can get back to that where a lot of kids are coming out and playing the game.
I mean, I have a season prediction for Division Two. Prepared. I think. Well, let me see. I think I have a Division One here that I was keeping some notes
you're
too.
coming out with predictions already.
We gotta have yeah, and I think my predictions are, because it's a little different now with the RPI. And after the first season, I took the off season kind of studying how that RPI is done. Now I get you got teams like that's why if you look at the schedules, some of the smart coaches, Blake Simpson, a guy like him, you'll see he's scheduling teams in higher divisions, and see even a loss is a win.
It's by points, and it is. I'm not big on points. You win.
A loss is a win because you're getting the opponent. Now, say you play Bishop Hendricken.
Yeah.
You're going to lose to them. All right. We know we're going to lose to them. So we're not going to get any points this game. But we know Bishop Hendricken's going to go on a run and they're going to win games. So you're going to get the points in the back end, which are called opponent win percentage. So as their win percentage builds, your points are building with it in the back end. And that's why, you've seen teams like Cumberland end up with that spot last season. The last week of football, a lot of teams were jumping around in different of the higher divisions because of that opponent win percentage.
Oh yeah, and that's how these teams are moving around. It's not let's play the best teams because we want to be the best that we can. It's how many points can we get, and that's not football, but that's just me, spewing that off. I rather, if you win, you get the one in the win column. Not if you lose, but you get enough points to advance to something else. It's just, I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, I get that, and
but Rhode Island has a lot of schools, and the way that they figure it out, sometimes for the most part, it doesn't make any sense. You should go by enrollment. It should do a lot of different things, but it doesn't. So, it's just, it is definitely, you look at the programs and you're like, how are you in D1? And, a very small school going against a very big school. And sometimes it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, see, Coach Ferraro said you asked the Coaches Association that they would rather have a small Division One. I don't agree on it. I thought Division One with 4 teams was so boring. It was like every other week. It was just I think it's a little better, but every team making the playoffs is a little like
What do you
in Division One.
Yeah.
But now this year it's going to be the top 6 teams are going to be playing for the state championship.
Yeah, you should have something to play for. D1 only having 4 schools out of 42. That's not good for football, and that's just not. Your D1 should be the most predominant, division in football. So make it very make it comparable. Make it, have all the schools have the same advantage instead of if you have enough schools where you have 2 sides of subdivisions of D1, instead of having Hendricken and LaSalle on both sides, have them on the same side. So only
never happened.
I know, because only one of them will advance. So then you're not giving the other public schools that kind of a chance. Again, it's another way of helping the private schools. Put them all on one side. Let them battle each other.
They make more money for that. And it's surprising because you would think if they battled each other, that game would probably sell more tickets. But they make more money with them teams playing against one another. Think about it. The Catholic Diocese is a reason they're compared with the Mafia. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Hendricken is, but I'm just saying the Catholic Diocese is a very strong organization.
Yeah, it is. But again, this is football. If you want more teams in D1, help the public schools. Okay, put all the private schools on one side with some private schools and public schools, and put the other public schools on the other side and battle it out. So you always have a public school in the mix. It's never, oh, well, we have to go through Hendrick and LaSalle. Put them on the same side. Let
Well,
them battle.
I think it's easier for teams with pathways being a little more looser, and more teams are promoting pathways. I seen Cranston East with a bulletin board on Route 10. Westerly took a primetime commercial out. You know, so teams are promoting the pathways a lot more. But the problem is now you have a team like St. Ray's that I say Coach Sassy chased a D1 prospect out the door. You had a kid like Nelson Martinez who chased him right into an NIL deal.
Yeah.
And he's doing well, and we'll see what he does his final season. But you have kids that are going to go to these prep schools now. They're transferring. Keith Croft's getting nervous about it. He's because he's losing kids. They lost a great deal of linebackers this year for Bishop Hendricken, and that's their bread and butter.
Oh yeah, now shout out to Keith, Coach Croft. He does a good job over there at Hendricken, but doesn't Hendricken do the same thing to public schools?
Oh, absolutely.
So now
absolutely.
Now it's being done to him, and you don't like it. Now he has an understanding of what all these public school coaches are going through. They're coaching these kids up, and they take a good look at him. Oh, he's a great prospect. Now they take him and promise him whatever they can promise him. I'm sure they stay within with the rules. But all of a sudden, that good player that was really promoted, really doing good for one program that's a public school, is now playing at a private school, and that was okay. But now it's happening into a lot of these private schools where these prep schools are coming in taking their players. Now they don't like it.
Well, Stanley Dunbar did it to Mount Hope. He gets a kid that's a decent football player.
Yeah,
that's has a high academic place. The parents have money, and he says, "Hey, come to our school." He sells them on the idea, and then he says, "Oh, you have to reclassify. So now I get you for 2 tuitions. You know what I mean? At $80,000 a pop. Now I get you for 2, and who knows if this player is gonna get recruited anyway." So now you took a kid that was high academic, and it might be a tough sell to get him recruited. It's not easy to get recruited now into college football with the new criterias.
Oh no, it's crazy. So with the portal and that's what's changing the outlook of football. There's a lot of portal kids transferring. Northern states and are not really football mode, but yeah, you have to stand out. And to reclassify, I don't know too much about the reclassification. I know that you dived into it plenty of times.
Public school is called staying back.
Yeah, that's right. You fail, you stay back.
But private school, it's reclassified. It's redoing the year over. And think of kids at Hendricken. They have some of the kids reclassified their 8th grade season. So by the time they get to 9th grade, we're already technically 2 classes older now. So by the time they're a senior, they got a bad mustache driving to school.
I thought I saw some 22-year-olds playing.
It's like, whoa. But yeah, it's going to be a great season. I think it's still going to be Hendrick and LaSalle at the top. NK is definitely going to give a battle for their money. I got to wait to see where Cumberland, you're going with a new coach, still a big, big program. Cumberland kept most of the coaching staff around. Lima gets a job based on friendship, not on merit. But shout out to Lima. So he's going to be out there in the NFL, and that's how that division is going to go. Burrillville is going to have a tough year, rebuilding year. I don't look for them to do much.
But you know what I like about Burrillville? They play hard. No matter what, whether their numbers are up or down, them kids, that coach Ferraro, much respect. They play hard. They come in, they hit, they're fundamentally smart. That they always have a good program. So he's doing good things over there. He doesn't have a big squad, but whatever he's doing there, it's working because them kids play hard. So
oh, absolutely. They play, and for a small team of 25 last year to challenge North Kingstown in the Super Bowl was great. So shout out to to Barville. Division two, I think SK right now, you still have to say they are the team to beat, the Rebels, what they did the last season, in the Super Bowl. They're definitely a clear favorite in Division two.
Yeah, Coach Zanella over there doing, changed up South Kingston a little bit. I know they were on a downspout. He comes in, changes it a little bit, and just slowly but surely builds it up. And, they were in the mix of that they won it last year. So they'll be probably in the mix again this year. So that'll be interesting to see.
And then Wesley and West Warwick are going to they're going to challenge each other. And that's going to be a strong case for that number two because that game, Wesley and West Warwick, the last game of the season, they play each other. And them are the two guys that I think are going to be in 2 and 3. So I think that game is going to be a difference maker in the Division two, the way the Division two seeding falls, because them two are going to be eyeing for something, and it could knock somebody out.
Depending on the RPI, IPO, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the RPI, exactly.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good game, and I'm excited to see it.
Wesley's solid group of skilled players over there. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the state, and he has been ever since he came into the game as a freshman. I mean, his father put a lot of work into Landon Husserow. My man Chubb over there, number 21, as a captain. I look for Chubb Hill to really be a difference maker this season, be a leader on the field over there in Wesley. I think they're going to be deep in line. I don't know how big they're going to be at their line. Wesley has not had a big class since the class of 21. They had to have a 1,500-pound line. Remember all the big boys they had? They had Xavier Dubois. They had Michael Garafola, Connor Martin. You had some right there. You got 900 pounds.
Yeah, monsters on that line. So we'll see what they do. I think West Warwick is going to have a big squad this year. So
West Warwick, man, they're going to count on them to have between. I know they had about 75 as signups this year. So, I mean, a couple weeks into practice, I know they're well over 50, 60 players, kids transferring in. And I guess the new transfer rule is 35 days from August 14th. You're good to go. And 35 days from August 14th isn't bad because you transfer from a school, the injury fund game don't count. So they can play that game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So they'll be back by week 3, healthy, ready to go.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But shout out to Coach Wes Pennington. That's what happens when you win. When you start winning, you build a big program, and you're constantly in the mix. So he's only going to do good things there too. So.
And I said earlier, Cliff, a couple of years ago, I made the push about the young dogs coming in, move over, and Coach Pennington, back-to-back Super Bowls, Coach Ferraro in another Super Bowl. In another Super Bowl last season. So it's like, I guess these old dogs are still.
Yeah, the old dogs know the old tricks. So
because the young guys, you had Stanley Dunbar in that mix, and what has he done besides his?
I think there was one. League. There was one young coach who made it to a state championship.
You ain't young, motherfucker. You ain't young. Who told you that?
The guy in the mirror. I don't know. My 3rd year, I was in the state championship, so I was young as in young.
You pup. Up here with us, old dog. Come on, now you ain't no young pup.
Dude, you ain't no young pup. I just turned 53.
What's Stanley? 20-something. You know what I mean? Mike Washington. Shout out to you though. You know what? That was a hell of a season you had, man. And that Super Bowl was Juanita Sanchez. That was the game. That was the Super Bowl. Double overtime. How long is the damn grass?
Triple overtime. That would be triple overtime. I'll tell you what though. That team. Shout out to the kids. Yeah, I had kids going into that school, pulling kids out. First year,
you had a championship squad, bro, and that's why I say after you, there's no reason they shouldn't have competed, especially that I don't even want to get into it, but the fourth season, like I mean, going against North Providence, you try that play that you never even practiced. Kid busts his name collarbone. It's like
Yeah,
they
I
should have
don't
been
know what that
a good
staff
team.
did. Yeah, I left a good staff, good teams there. I think they had like 11 starters for the Super Bowl play the following year. So, different coaches do different things. So,
Stanton, you know what I mean? I mean the kid,
Stan played well.
the
Yeah.
kid's a beast. You know what I mean? I see him now, and I was like, yo, that boy's jacked up.
Yeah. Yeah. It was Stanton. It was Zuckerberg. Them guys really took the team and then some. I went to the Washington County Fair and ran into a couple players, Zachary and all them, the fullback or running back. Every now and then I'll get a message from some of my players just to see how they're doing. But I mean, all three horses was good. Chris Catalino, as the quarterback for 4 years, starting as a freshman. I love seeing what oh my God, man, he went to college. Simus, how he progressed and went from high school to college, did his 5 years. So not too shabby. These
Yeah, a
guys,
lot of you had a good team. It was unfortunate, how it ended, but you had a very good team.
it was fun, yeah. So we'll see what happens next year. I'm getting the love for football again. So
But
maybe I'll
eventually we'll jump into Division 4. I want to finish with the Division 2 conversation. We're all over the place.
oh,
Uh,
jumping in everywhere.
but the West Warwick and I think West Warwick and Westerly, are gonna, they're gonna be the two teams that compete against SK. Which one
Yeah,
will it be that year? Can West Warwick make it to 3 in a row?
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't bet against it. Coach Pennington has done a great job there. So, nothing says that to me that he won't. So I'll look for him in the state championship, and hopefully he wins it this year.
And I
He's
think the
knocking on the
middle
door.
of the pack, oh, go ahead. What was you gonna say?
He's been knocking on the door to win it. So hopefully this year he wins it.
He won. He got to a Super Bowl in Division 2, 3, and 4. I
Yeah,
wonder if there's another coach that been to Super Bowls in three
I don't.
different
Not that I know.
divisions in Rhode Island.
I have no idea.
Lincoln and East Providence too is starting to step up now. I've been saying, shout out to EP that you got all the recipes right there. You got everything right there.
Mm.
You have the field, you have the facility, you have a program, I believe you have a community that gets behind you. I believe you have a school committee that rocks with you. I believe. I'm not really sure about town politics, but East Providence has all the makings for a championship team, and they have not been able to get it done in a long time.
Yeah, when I was at the scrimmage with Cranston East against them, they look good. They got some big kids, some big dogs. They hit hard. They play with a lot of enthusiasm. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But you're right, they've got all the makings to put a good product on the field. So let's see what they do this year. Lincoln, I always like Lincoln because they run the wing tee. I like it. It's really, it dogs it out. So, and I know he's going a little spread a little bit from what I heard, but let's see what they do.
Yeah, no, exactly. Lincoln always seems to come on strong. I think Coach Piva coaches the girls basketball team over years, but East Providence made a stride in recent years. So, with a few additions, can they push for a higher seed? Lincoln's been known to have tough defense, gritty play style, making them a good opponent every week. Lincoln is always got to be a team that you have to watch out for.
Pack a lunch because they're gonna bring it. So
that's what people say when they come visit me. They said, "Oh, you're gonna go over there and visit Mikey. You better pack a lunch."
Yeah, it's a long ride.
Because he is out there. I don't think so. See, I take that. I kind of like your studio. I take that ride home and shit, and that's why I wear. See how bright you gotta have it. That's why I wear sunglasses a lot. But people say pack a lunch. You wanna go out to Westerly.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's a long ride home after a loss. That's for sure.
Oh, it's not fun. I'm sure.
these teams need to capitalize on their matchups against each other, just to be top contenders, I think, in this division too. Coventry, I think you're gonna have teams like Coventry that's gonna be at the back of the pack. I'm not sure how Coach Gervasini is doing over there, if people are buying into his situation, but former Westerly Bulldog. And I don't think he got the job based off a lot of people say he got the job because he was in the building. I'm sure that helped. I mean, I know he wanted the Westerly job, and Stanley Dunbar got it, and then he applied for Coventry. Alejandro got it. So this is who you should have probably hired when you hired, my buddy Anthony Alejandro.
Let's see what he does. I know for some reason his numbers are low. So I don't know. I know Alejandro really kept an even number. I don't know what he started with. I don't know what he ended
No,
with.
Alejandro ruined that program. Yeah, they started with 80 kids. They end up with 25. You don't have to say it. I'll say it. And that's what happens to programs. That's what happens. You kill the program, and now kids leave. You're going to see kids from Coventry that are willing to sit out the 35 days this year. That's how bad they don't want to go back there.
That's kind
Popping up at other programs.
That's kind of sad to see now. You know what I mean? Hopefully Coventry can, I don't know, get it together over there. I coached there with Coach Zanella for a long time, and I remember my first year there, way back when, we had 101 kids. They came out, and there's some big dudes in that school. They're not small kids. So to see these numbers actually over the past decade drop dramatically is kind of heartbreaking.
It's an enrollment school. It's a big enrollment school. It's a top 10 enrollment school in the state.
Oh yeah, it was. And when I was an assistant coach there, that place was packed. Every home game, they traveled well. They loved their football. The West Warwick Coventry game was something to talk about. One of the top 5 rivalry games in the state. So it's unfortunate to hear that some of the things that you do here, the numbers going low. Hopefully they can get it together and get more kids coming out, because that's a really good community over there for football.
Yeah, and without a feeder program is something else I think that hurts.
That does hurt, because like I said, when I was there, they had a really good youth program. They were winning. It's like Westerly. Your youth program is strong. Your high school is going to be strong. So not having a feeder program is very difficult, because you've got the young kids playing probably in West Warwick, EWG, West Warwick. So as you're there as a youth, as you get older, you want to stay with your friends. So then you go to that same high school, and so Coventry will definitely lose out on that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely unfortunate, but it's and then you have kind of Mount Pleasant that's going to be sitting there with a new coach, and I don't think Mount Pleasant. Look, I endorsed Julio O'Donnell for that Mount Pleasant job, and I know he don't have any head coaching experience, but no head coach has experience until he becomes a head coach. And I know a lot of people say Julio has a history or has a background, but it's all rumors. I mean, nothing. Everyone has a background. Everyone has history, right? But we all grow up and we mature and we become better men, and it's all speculation. I think they should have gave Julio a chance at one of the 6 schools he applied for, but soon as that gets over, a position opens in college and he gets a job right away. Over at Bridgewater.
That, right? He, for whatever reason, he couldn't get into high school, but he's able to get into college. There's a lot of coaches that are going to have to get their experience as a head coach. I was fortunate enough to get my foot in the door, but it was, somebody opened the door. Coach Matt Mancuso opened the door for me, and he's like, "Hey, come here." Once I left Coventry, he's like, "Come here." He knew what he was doing down the road, but he gave me that opportunity, and all the, the stuff about, EWG and I. But I got my first opportunity there. So I'm still a little thankful for that. But you need people to open doors for you. Coach Estrada over at Johnston, I'll talk to about him for a minute. Gave me my first opportunity to coach football. He saw me at the youth level, and he's like, "You need to come to high school." You know how many coaches that he's given opportunities to come in and just be an assistant and learn how to coach from a guy who's been doing it for 20 plus years. So you need these coaches to do stuff like that. I know Coach Cook does it. I know some other coaches who do that. They'll give you that opportunity to come in, not only prepare you to coach, but prepare you to how to be a head coach. Once you're a head coach, it's not all just X's and O's. There's a lot of other administration things. There's academic things. There's college stuff. There's so much more than just being on a sideline coaching. So being a head coach will give you gray hair, or you just shave it all off. So
Well, I said that to somebody the other day. I said, it's not about I said it's not just about X's and O's. You got to deal with the parents. You got to deal with the families. When you're winning, things are going bad. You got to deal with players.
yeah,
There's a lot of moving parts. I think that go
absolutely.
along with being a head coach. And for the people that are out there listening, I'm going to break all this down after, so it's done in different segments. But I know it has been a long podcast, but I don't care. I'm going to break it down later. It's been so long since I've been able to do this. I have a lot to catch up on. But yeah, so that's basically and Mount Pleasant, bringing, I think, Coach Uchi and the guy that stepped down from um Moses Brown a couple years ago. I still think Julio would have been a better approach because Julio came from that program. He's not worried about walking them streets if something, you got Manton Projects, Hoppet Projects, you got Apples Ave, Manton Ave, Mount Pleasant, Chalkstone. You know what I mean? There's a lot of kids in them areas that could come out and play football. So
Oh yeah, no. It's gonna be interesting. I want to see how football is gonna be this year. I want to see these small schools. I want to see how they play. Are they playing hard? Is football? Rhode Island football has that little bad mark. It's not. It's an activity. It's not something that people are striving for. It's just an activity now. I like to get that mantra out of Rhode Island football and put it to back where it used to be when I was coaching. Stanley was at Coventry. Good Hot was part of it. Cook was at Pano. We had a lot of rivalry games, but we're all good friends. So, but the games were always really good. So hopefully, Rhode Island can get back to that.
I got on the screen. I have this year's scheduling for RAIL. So people, if you want, you can, clip this part, some of the schedules. You got like Portsmouth, SK, Cranston West, Wesley, Barrington, West Warwick, Cumberland, Charahoe, Hendricken. That's a pretty tough schedule right there for Portsmouth. I can't lie.
Oh yeah, it is. That's good luck with it.
And you see a lot of Division II teams on the schedule for these D1s, and that's why, because of now look, you have St. Ray's over here, Coventry, Central, Cranston West, Burrillville, LaSalle, Cumberland, and Barrington. They only play one Division II team. They play Coventry. That's gonna be a tough game for Coventry. Let's look at Coventry's schedule. St. Ray's, Johnston, Moses Brown, East Providence, Mount Pleasant times 2 co-op. I'm just like baffled. Lincoln, Woonsocket, and then Middletown. Middletown ends the season. That'll be it for Coventry. I think, let's see, St. Ray's, that's going to be tough. I'm not sure how Johnston is set up right now in Division III. So that could be an interesting season for Coventry. Any comment on any of these?
John, I'll tell you what, Johnson always plays tough. They're always in the mix. Very, very rarely are they down. So that'll be a good game.
Let's see Mount Pleasant for a co-op. Barville,
Tough game.
Woonsocket.
I don't know how Woonsocket's going to be without Charlie. Charlie really got them kids playing. They had, he did so much for Woonsocket that had nothing to do with football. Had, making sure the kids, did their homeworks, make sure their grades were good while after football season. Making, finding ways to get these kids to practice. He did such a great job with Woonsocket. Anytime you saw him, he was always rocking Woonsocket. So the reason for him leaving, I don't know the details of it, but that was probably a bad move, allowing one of the better coaches in Rhode Island to walk, because he really did a great job. I think he's the youngest guy to win back-to-back Super Bowls in Rhode Island. So I'm looking forward to seeing him, what he does over at Rogers.
I had to come back on camera for this when you started talking about this. No, listen, Mike Washington came on. Mike Washington came out a couple weeks ago and kept it real as I ever seen anyone keep it real.
He knows listen, Coach Washington will it's 100%. He'll hurt your feelings, make you cry, but he'll make you love him at the same time. So
he said what they did to Charlie was horrible. He said, "You better hope we don't play them." He was talking about, I hope they don't win anything ever. I'm like, yo, and I get it. That's his boy, personal feelings in the mix, but over paperwork, man, over some paperwork, over not riding the bus, because no one has been able to prove anything serious. And why would Rogers give him a job right away?
So sometimes administrations overthink. Sometimes they get in their own way.
Somebody said it was white supremacy. I was like, get out of here with that shit.
Let the coaches coach. Let them do what they do best. Let them coach. If there's a paperwork problem, sit down. Hey, we have a problem. Fix it. He's a grown man. You can sit down and say a mistake happened. Yeah, and everybody makes a mistake, especially when you're dealing with so much. Again, being a head coach is much more than X's and O's. There's a lot to it, and a lot of people, don't understand it. They just think, being a head coach is fun. Let me repeat this. Being a head coach is a lot of work. It's not X's and O's only. It's administration. It's paperwork. It's dealing with the AD, making sure the principal is on board with the AD, who has to be on the same page with you. It's the parents. It's the kids. Understanding what the kids have to do once they leave your practice or your field. How are they going to be doing throughout the season? You're always worried about your kids, making sure that they're doing good and you're putting them in the best scenario possible. Then you're worried about college for them. Then you're worried about what they're going to do, because a signature didn't happen. You just couldn't sit down with them and just say, hey, let's just do a better job, or get him help to do it. I'm sorry, that's just dead wrong.
I couldn't understand where the assistants, came in here, because, for whatever reason, I didn't see any, his assistants that really had his back. But when the community spoke up, the community spoke nothing but praise for Charlie. And then shout out to assistant coach up there, Eddie Olette. And then Eddie makes a commitment to Woonsocket after Charlie's departure, to Rogers. And Eddie's always been a Woonsocket soldier and always went there to help out. And,
absolutely. He travels.
His commute isn't nothing easy, and
he's not down the street.
And when he stepped down from semi-pro, we text back and forth a little bit, and he said he couldn't commit to Woonsocket because of the commute, and see him commit. I was just very surprised. I'm glad he did, because he's a Woonsocket soldier through and through. But yeah, what they did to Charlie was horrible. And it wasn't so bad that he got a job right away.
Yeah, good for him, and hopefully he builds Rogers and makes that as exciting as he did Woonsocket. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Damn, Coach. Well, we talked some D1, D2. I haven't really paid much attention on D4, but what I will say is Jeff Piver up there at North Smithfield. You have to win this season. You know, with the squad you have, all the returning kids you took over for a West Pennington. I think your time has to be now. You know,
He's been in the game long enough. I think every now and then when you're counted out, the coaches really step up. This could be the year that things are not working out for him in the past. Maybe this is the year that his team shows up and he gets it all together, because that's all it really is. I mean, I played against them. I've scrimmaged with them. The kids play hard, so it's probably one of them things that it's just missing that one or two things. And he has a lot of kids coming back, so maybe that's what it is. Maybe he just needs that experience from players that that are not graduating to help these younger players. But I'm looking forward, obviously, because he's a friend of mine, so I'm interested in seeing how he does. And can he make a lot of noise in D4? So we're gonna find that out real quick.
I mean, I think this is the season. If he can do it, it is this season. So
yeah, when you're senior heavy, it has to be. When you got a lot of experienced players coming back, you should be able to do stuff. So I won't be surprised if he's in the mix.
so right now we don't know if we will see Cliff on the sideline. Maybe he'll be here and there. I think you should just take the season and
Like I
maybe
said, I just wanted to get the love of football back. I kind of lost it a little bit. And just going to practices, going to scrimmages. I'm gonna go to games again this year. I really, I'm going to the Raider game. I'm going to the URI game, Boston College. I got my tickets, Brown. I'm doing all this just to get back to some football. And my staff, I've talked to them. The ones that I'm gonna keep. They would love for me to come back. So I'll make a jump back into it, next year, see what opens up, see what would fit, and write the comeback story.
there you go. I kind of like my idea about the concession stand, man. I think
Well, I'm gonna
I
go to
think that's
Westerly
fitting
first.
for you.
The Westerly has some good food over there, so I'll have to go there first.
Yeah, I gotta say the best concession stand, if you talk about Westerly, is the Pee Wees. You know what I mean? Go down there because you're going down there getting some eggplant, some soupy, and outside Wesley, like a lot of people don't know what soupy is.
I didn't know until you told me, and then
Like,
it
they
is what
take
it
that
is.
shit seriously. Like you go in most Italians' basements in Wesley, and they got soupy hanging and drying.
Yeah,
It's
there's
like a
no joke.
sausage casing. It's like chorizo in a bigger casing. You
They
know?
take it like imagine telling like, I'm Italian. I did this once. I ordered chorizo. I wanted to try Portuguese food and asked for mustard. They almost took the sandwich back. So
Oh my god, yeah, that's a Polish thing.
yeah, so I'll stick to my sausage and peppers. But
You gotta be, yeah, that's definitely a Polish thing, man. But yeah, people, listen, go back and watch some of yesterday's games on college football, man. We had a lot of Rhode Island kids out there showing out, and it was kind of nice to see.
yeah,
You had Lassiter out, man. I was like, when I seen that play, runs the ball, got nice vision of the field. Someone that came out of Providence, 401 football player, and we have more. Now we have a couple guys in the NFL playing. We got a couple guys. We got guys in the NFL coaching. So
absolutely.
yeah, no, definitely. Listen, is URI's biggest offseason acquisition bringing in Ryan?
Yes. The best thing that URI did was bring in Ryan McCormick. The worst thing that UMass did is let him go. He is the hottest working recruiter that I've ever seen. He's at every game. He knows every player. He knows what they've done. He's a statistician. He knows the portal very well. He's got connections that people don't even know about. URI just got better. They got better by just hiring Ryan McCormick. And the next couple of years, everybody's going to find out why.
Well, I think, if you look at the last couple of classes that Ryan brought in, he took in the state's best football players.
He did.
And I think a lot of kids that, yeah, of course you can't compete with URI if they're giving kids full rides and stuff, it's tough to compete with that D1 cal. And why would you, as a D3 recruiter, if a kid has a full ride, why would you even get in the way of that? So but he brings in the best kids. I think the former coach said that Ryan McCormick was the reason of their success, the
Absolutely.
last couple of seasons. Yeah, and I mean, what do you want? Like when I found out that he was getting paid 30,000 a year, I was like, kind of like that's below minimum wage.
He
And then
lost
and he's spending
a month.
46 to 60 to make that. So
Oh yeah, there's a reason why they want him at the camps. There's a reason why that you or I wanted him. He's that good. He's that dude. So I'm gonna be looking forward to see what he does at URI. How URI does with his recruitment. It's gonna URI is gonna shock a lot of people of who actually comes and is on that football squad, and it's gonna be because of Ryan McCormick.
well, right away he brings in Angel Sanchez, who I believe
Exactly.
started. He started the game the other night. He brings in Angel Sanchez, which Coach Sylvester never believed Angel Sanchez could get it done at the
Mm.
D1 level.
And now
And here he is now at the D1 level, and he's starting.
exactly. So that tells you everything. He knows what to look for that other coaches and other recruits are not seeing. So he's done a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing my friend on the sideline. I think I'm going to go to a couple of games, just support URI just because he's there. So
Well, I know parents that have said that the final decision came down because Coach McCormick was at the program.
and that's how much weight he brings to the table. Like he's very well respected through all college and high school football. So
And yeah, I promote Ryan a lot, but he's my friend, and I think you should promote your friend.
absolutely.
My
Yeah,
father-in-law is a garbage man. I think he's the best damn garbage man in the world.
that's
You know
it.
what
You
I
always,
mean? So you got to promote your
good.
peoples.
Always support your friends. I'm a big advocate of saying that. I support you and your podcast. You support me on mine. And I'm always rooting for the guys that I know who are coaching football. So that's just the thing to do. So just looking forward to this year and seeing how Rhode Island football steps up a little bit more. And then next year, I'm coming back.
So we're gonna look out for Coach Fortin's concession stand podcast.
Right? It'll be the we eating food podcast.
But that ain't bad. Hopefully, maybe you go to some games Friday night. We're gonna do the Friday night lights. Hopefully, we have a chance to see you. Coming on the show. Maybe breaking down whatever game you went to.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be going to games just again to get that feeling back. Plus, just support my friends. Obviously, I live near Cranston Stadium, so seeing Cranstonese go, I'll go. It's a great feeling. I sit with Coach's wife and his family who are always there. They support him tremendously. So I like to be in that atmosphere. And when he's on the road, I'll pick another game and come on and we'll talk about it.
Coach Cook, man. I hope we don't lose any more hair this season.
I don't think he can.
Yeah.
That's a good dude though. Like he
Nah, yeah. I mean,
really
know how, shout
yeah,
out to Coach Cook,
absolutely.
tell him I need a hoodie. Mandatory. I don't want to hear it. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
well, I'll tell him he'll make sure you get a hoodie, but you have to
Yeah.
put it on the podcast when you're talking
Dude, for
about.
real, yo, no doubt, man. Look, I still wear fucking ass. I mean,
There you go with the swearing.
damn, I still wear my fucking buddy's fucking.
Yeah.
I use it over here under the table to fucking put my wet sneakers on when I come in.
I can't.
You know what I mean? Like, hey,
I
man,
love
one
it.
thing about you, I mean, I'm just loyal, man. You know what I mean? I'm just loyal
Absolutely.
to the core, bro. Loyal to the core.
That's it.
But shout out to you, man. Thank you, Coach Fortin.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope everything's good.
Everything's really good now.
I see you living your best life, man.
I you know something, I met somebody tremendously that's just an amazing person that's got me on such a another level in life. She's just probably the best thing that happened in a long time. Shout out to all my friends, you, Coach Cook, Ryan, a lot of stuff. When I was at my lowest, you guys really stepped up, and there's a true definition of the word friends. All you guys would, your picture should be in it. Same thing with my family, same thing with my other friends, Rocco and Anthony, not Alejandro, but you too, buddy. It was great to see what you really have behind you, and then what God puts in front of you. You know what I mean? There's an old saying. I know Coach Pennington's gonna love this. I'll say it here. I'm not that religious, but I'll tell you, God can, hear things that you can't hear. He sees things that you can't see, and he'll remove people that that you're not willing to remove. And then as you're going through that pain, he puts someone in there to help rebuild you and make you better. And I'm a true believer in that. And that's a shout out to Wes Pennington, because he's Pastor Pennington at the same time. So,
No, yeah, sometimes, the people that are going to turn around and make your life better, you haven't even met them yet.
exactly. So I'm at an all-time high right now. My work is good, my business is good, the podcast is good. I'm starting another podcast. Trying to play with the name. We're gonna figure that out, how to get you on there. It'll be a panel and stuff like that. But I'm doing good, and
Well, I'm glad because you started off with the EWG situation and everything just blew up from there. And and that's why, and people don't realize, a lot of people know the situation you went through, and you fought that case, and the state, knowing you was innocent, and they still continued to prosecute you. And this is how hard it is to defend yourself, and this is why people cave in and they
you
end up
have
taking
to.
deals.
What you have to do is you have to fight it to the very end, and they will throw money, they'll do this, they'll do that, they'll do a whole lot of things to try to deter you. You just have to stay true to what is the truth. And that's what I did, fought it to the very end. But the consequences, you hurt personally, and that opened up a whole nother avenue. And even though, hey, I'm winning on one hand, I'm losing on another. So did you really win? I don't know yet. There's a bright future for me. It is a bright future for Cliff Fortin, definitely for Cliff Nation, and we'll see what happens with Coach Fortin. I've been talking to a lot of people about coming back to football, but personally, Cliff is probably on the best path possible, and I'm happy about where it was a couple of years ago, where it was last year. And the strive within 1 year is just truly amazing. And what I did was I took what I've been teaching kids, and for the first time I took my own advice. You're going to be faced with adversity no matter what, and what are you going to do with that adversity? And I'm not going to mention the player's name, but I did reach out and said, Coach, I know you're going through some stuff, but what you used to tell us, you're going to be faced with adversity, you're going to get knocked down, but don't you dare let that keep you down. And that meant a lot. I'm getting a little choked up about it right now. But
and that came from somebody younger than you, and
I
see
think
how
for someone I coached
mature.
for a while, and
Absolutely.
right after that, my life just turned around. So
Well, much respect to you. Much respect to you, and I'm sure we'll continue to talk to Cliff. Whether his future's on the football field or not. Shout out to you. Shout out to your family, your granddaughter.
Emma.
Yes, and everything you have going on. It's so great having grandkids. Like, they are the joy, I think, of my life. I like them more than I like my kids. You know what I mean? But all right, buddy, man. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Check out the Raiders Fan Podcast, man. Definitely check.
It's on TikTok or on the podcast. Go on the TikTok, the Raider Fan the Raider Fan Podcast TikTok. If you're a Raider fan, put Raider gear on. Send me a message. I'll put you on there, and it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. All right. Thank you, Cliff Nation. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Have a good one.
All right. But there we have it, Cliff Fulton. We had Coach Ferraro. He got a little emotional towards the end. Coach Fulton. We got to end these shows where we get him emotional, right? But these guys are diehard Rhode Island football guys. You know, they love the game. You know, we love what we do. But here we are. We back. I'm going to break this down. I know this was a long stream, but I'm going to break this down in segments and parts, you know. But no, I appreciate everybody, man. Big shout out again to Baraducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care, you know, located over on Grove and Nice Street in Providence. I mean, if you're looking for, you know, a heartfelt way to convey the services, you know, definitely call them, you know, because when things are at your lowest, they have compassion, dignity. You know, Baraducci did very good, you know, for my dad. So you can check out their website, Baraducci Funeral Home and Cremation Care Center. They have a faculty in Woonsocket, in Providence, you know, and they can take care of all your loved ones' needs. So shout out to them. They did such a great job. I'll get all their information, get it posted, you know, but whether it's a traditional, you know, burial or cremation, whatever you want to do, Michael and Annette will definitely get you all taken care of. You know, shout out to Home Smart Professionals, man. You're looking to buy a home, definitely give Home Smart Professionals a call at 401-486-6587. Big shout out to Emerson over there at 401 Strength and Fitness, the 400 block of Warwick Ave. You look for someone that have done it at the big level, at the D1 level. You have to give Emerson a call right now. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's about it. So I thank everybody for coming on the show, man. Shout out to Coach Ferraro over there at Burrville High School. Shout out to Coach Fulton, my man Cliff. You know, we go back a long time, man. A long time from the hill. Shout out to Coach Fulton. And shout out to you if you want to promote your product to my audience, man. We have it going on during the football season up to $250,000 a month. And the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker and don't necessarily reflect the views or positions of, you know, of us, the podcast, you know. But all the teams, I think West Warwick Steelers, it's going to be a great ride this year. Let me see. Put banner. Scroll. I just want to get it all right. But absolutely, man. You're looking for a home to buy, Home Smart Professionals. Congratulations to Coach Andy Gervasini over there at Coventry High School. Congratulations to everybody who made it up to the next level, man. My man Greg, New York Sister, man, has sold. The same people that bought, you know, the joint on Federal Hill turned into a Wally's Wieners. But now the New York system is now going to be probably the newest Wally's Wieners. But I don't blame Greg for selling. I talked to Greg. He said, 2010 was right around. It was just yesterday. It wasn't that far. It wasn't that long ago. He said, and he said, I'm 65, and in another 15 years, I'm gonna be, 80. So I probably got 15 good years left of my life. So that what made, basically, I think helped Greg make the decision to sell his joint. But okay, let's see. I think that is about it. I'm gonna break all of this down. Again, if you're considering, looking for somebody to handle services at the last days, definitely I recommend Baraducci's Funeral Home. They take pride in creating, such a meaningful moment between you, your family and themselves, very personal one-on-one service, so give Michael a call in Woonsocket. Give Annette a call in Providence. They could definitely, send your loved ones out in a great place. But slow right now, trying to find what I'm looking for. But definitely, man, I'm going to try to reach out to Wes Pennington, see if we can get Wes on the podcast. Actually, Wes just hit me up, so stay tuned, because if he's available, we'll be right back.
Ready to dominate the field? Join Beast Coast Football Factory. Led by top coach Najee Barros, we elevate your game at all levels, where we offer expert training, unique techniques and drills, affordable rates, $25 per session, $40 for two. Don't miss your chance to work with the best. Contact Beast Coast Football Factory today to schedule.
Are you dreaming of the perfect home? Your dream home doesn't have to be just a dream. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kathy Foisey from HomeSmart Professionals Real Estate is here to make it a reality. Expertise in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, Kathy is ready to guide you every step of the way. Reach out today at 401-486-6587 or email kfoisey1@gmail.com.
Throughout the football season, every Friday night, we bring you exclusive sideline access and post-game interviews. We go straight to the head coaches, asking tough questions live with no edits. Just real, honest conversations.
We're now seeking sponsorships for our platform. Both businesses and individuals can support us through booster ads, helping to amplify our reach and impact. Your support means the world to us, and together we can continue to provide the coverage our community deserves.
We're reaching out for your help. Any small donations, even as little as the cost of a cup of coffee, can make a huge difference in keeping our platform alive and thriving. Can We Keep It Real podcast is brought to you by Beast Coast Football Factory and HomeSmart Professionals. Please consider joining our team today.